And good morning, golfing world. It's TGD Today, the round table here at thegolfdirector.com. I got that echo again. Wow, there it is. Ooh, that's better. That's much better. Good morning, guys. I'm with Al Cloyd and sitting in for HR, Jimmy Biggs.
I'm going to do my best. I don't have like an extra, I don't have a number on the back of my name.
You want a number? We'll give you a number.
Yeah.
Pick a number.
JB1.
Yeah.
JB1.
One.
I like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's tweet that out.
Jimmy
JB1
Biggs,
in the house.
The one.
The
We'll
one.
put a the in there.
Welcome to the program, dude.
Glad to be here.
Great to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
PGA Championship weekend.
Much better looking than HR, I can tell you that.
Well,
Don't you agree,
yeah,
Brother Al?
That's it, man.
He'll
You
probably
can't beat
agree
it.
too.
It's good to have you back, dude.
Man, I'll tell you, it's
Oh,
good
yeah.
to be here. Definitely. Good to be here.
We missed you.
I tell you, I missed being here big time.
Dr.
Well,
Brian, fresh from under the knife.
Yes, sir. Yeah, glad to be back from Duke. Everything's healing up really good. I like to thank everybody for all the calls, their prayers, and the thoughts. Thank you guys very, very much. We're healing good, and hopefully be back up and running here before too awful long. So,
Are you including that message I sent you yesterday?
That's right.
It's time for you to quit sloughing off and
Time
get back to work.
I left the house this morning. Both the dogs are sitting there, and they're like, "Well, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Yeah, this.
We had a good thing going here.
We had a good thing going here, man. I mean, so I wiped their tears and left the house.
Yeah.
Well, of course,
beat
Brother Al has been going through surgery and another cancer scare and all that. So we're so thankful to have you back and see that bright, shiny face in the morning. Picks everybody's spirits up around here. Frankly, I missed you tremendously because you're always my brother from a different mother sitting on the other side of HR3.
Yes, sir.
And I've missed you.
Man, I missed you guys. I mean, I miss you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hugh, I'm not missing you. I missed Al.
It's getting weird sitting in between you
I know.
two. I'm just saying.
It's a love fest.
Now, if I
okay,
just
yeah.
push you out the way here,
Yeah. Starting to smell things.
And I know I'm not good enough for someone as good looking as this, so I don't even.
yeah, me neither.
I
So
don't even make a move.
I know where I stand.
Us uglies
Yeah.
stick together.
I'm
dude.
you guys just need to tone it down a little bit. You're getting a little off the cart path.
There you go. Hit it back in the fairway. Just knock down a 6-iron. Let's get it back into play.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Al and his recent, let's say his recent exploits. How about that? We'll just call them exploits. We're going to do the Al Cloyd Benefit Golf Tournament this Saturday, coming up August 15th at Possum Trot, 8 a.m. shotgun start. It's a 4-person captain's choice, and the Godfather has brought in. Right now, I'm at 45 players that I have signed up.
I can't tell you how big that is and how much I appreciate that.
So
it's just-
I'm excited because I've already started the little betting pool amongst my players, as you know what the winning score is going to be and who's going to knock that out. So
We'll have to announce it. Well, this will be fun.
we
This
have
will
the
really be
Al
fun.
Cloyd Golf Benefit Tournament Fantasy League.
Awesome, man.
Ooh, I like
awesome.
that. There you go. That looks fun.
Super cool.
Super
cool.
I need to get Senior Biggs and Jeff Deal and the guy and the professor into this so I can get their minds.
That's right.
The intellect.
Oh, yeah.
I need
Oh,
to
yeah.
get the smart guys into this.
Definitely.
Right.
So, but I'm bringing some hosses with me, and I'm bringing some hogs.
That's it, man.
So-
That's finer than a frog's hair split 3 ways, brother.
Yeah.
Well, you're used to that.
What's that?
Hogs and hosses.
I am. Go ugly early, beat the rush.
That's it.
So we got that coming up Saturday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Possum Trot. Johnny's looking forward to having us out there.
Definitely.
He's getting the course all trimmed up.
Bill's
and,
going to have the grill fired up. We're going to have hamburgers and hot dogs.
Bill's cooking?
Bill's cooking.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Should I have not said that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know we love you, Bill.
Bill,
he does cook a mean hamburger.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. $30 a person. You can't beat it. All the proceeds from the tournament go to Al and his family, so it's a worthwhile. I don't know of another cause that's more worthwhile. So we look forward to that, and I look forward to spending the day with you. You're going to be out roaming around and
Yes, sir.
talk to all the people that are participating. And
Yeah, what I'll probably do, just kind of depending on my energy level, is get out there in the morning and greet everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then while they're out playing, I may go home, rest for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back,
Sweet.
when the round's over with.
can you bring some of the apple pie back when you come?
Well, heck yeah, man.
Okay,
Definitely.
thank you very
That's
much.
done.
I love that apple pie.
Stick a
sitting on the windowsill,
fork in it, and it's done.
You smell it from about number 16, 17.
Again, it's getting weird again.
You just got to keep the squirrels away from the.
Well, speaking of tournaments, for the round table here, we try to come up with different subject matters or topics or whatever. And, a lot of them are recent events and what's going on in the world of golf. But this one here, the Godfather, as I told you, played last week in the Low Country Open. And this was the Godfather at his age of 112, signed up to play with a bunch of flat bellies. And I tell you, it was kind of interesting after 10 years in the military and over 23 years in corporate world, and then get back out there in this Low Country Open, which is a open professional event, folks. And I felt butterflies, Jimmy. I mean, I was on the range just nerves. And it was kind of a good feeling, and I had to remember back like when I played in MGA events or the club championships and things like that, or even Golf Channel events, whatever it may be. But I had to go back to that old mindset of what do you do to calm down, Mm-hmm. And I then started – I remember back in previous tournaments that I've played in that was of big importance to an amateur player – is, you start picking up on the personality changes with other golfers. This guy's over here just going his mouth. He's like 90 miles an hour. This guy who normally is very friendly, very talkative is just dead quiet.
Turned off.
Put your shield on. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so you start watching these people, and I found that last week, I told you the story off the air, Jimmy. I didn't really calm down until one of the guys I was playing with absolutely just hosel-rocketed one off the first tee, straight into the woods.
Just what you want to see on the first tee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little 3-foot decker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice club head speed of about 170. And, and why they don't put grooves on the hosel, I still don't know. But
I'm working on that.
I'm sitting there looking.
I got a patent pending on that one right now. Yep.
That'd be a great addition to your wedges.
So you can just go straight right. It doesn't have to keep going right.
Yeah.
I'm
working on that.
It took that little instance of watching this guy just absolutely cold hard shank one, and I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put the big dog away, and I'm going to hit a little 3-wood down the middle, and it was like, poof, okay, let's go play golf.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have fun.
Definitely.
The nerves just disappeared.
Yep.
What is it? I mean, a teaching professional, a playing professional you are, what can the amateur do to kind of – we're all looking for that thrill, that nerve. It means something of importance to us because, I mean, if I went and pumped out that much money to play in this event, I want to at least have a good showing.
Sure. Absolutely.
But what could I do beforehand, getting started out on the range? What can I do in the car? What can I do to calm those nerves down before I get started?
Well, I mean, if you're going to put that kind of money out, Al, back me up on this. Hopefully, you practice a little bit going into it, so you know that your game's right when you get to that first tee. So that's where you want to shoot. Yeah. So no, the real thing I think is you're always going to have those nerves on the first tee, and my school of thought's a little different from most people, and I actually I heard Rory say it a couple years ago, and I agree with him. Is I kind of put the blinders on, but I'll pick a spot, 6 inches in front of that tee ball. I'll go with the club that's comfortable with you. You hit 3-wood. Me, it's driver. I feel like 3-wood can go anywhere, and the higher I hit it, who knows how far over and what county it'll land in.
Good thought.
So I hit driver. I'll pick a spot 6 inches in front of that ball, and I will try to hit it as hard as I can over that spot. Not swing out of my shoes, but hit it hard. I always feel like when I try to just don't screw up swing, that's when I hit the worst shots. You know what? If it's the wrong shot shape or it's the wrong club, chances are it'll be a little less disastrous than it will if you're thinking, oh, all right, well, let me try to baby a hybrid down there or hit an iron. I'm probably like a worst ball striker you've ever met. So hitting an iron off the tee, you will never see that from me. I will try to bunt a driver or I'll try to rip a driver, but generally I pick a spot, get zoned in, and hit that shot. Try to rip it over that spot. And chances are that's the worst shot. You can get past that first tee shot, Al. It's pretty much gravy from there. You can relax.
Yep. In the mornings, I like listening to certain songs, that kind of relax me a little bit. I find that helps, on the way to the golf course.
Good.
Getting there just in the timing on getting to the course, I think is real crucial for me. If I get there too early, I get too much practice in and too much thinking, which is a bad thing for me personally. So, I like to get there early enough to have a little set procedure, to where I go spend a few minutes on the putting green, then spend a few minutes chipping, hit a few clubs throughout the course of my whole bag. So I've got kind of like a little routine that I go through.
Right.
When I get to the course. And then when I go through that routine, when I'm finished that routine, I feel more comfortable. Because, I've done that. If you do it every time, it kind of gets like old shoe or old hat.
Right.
You just kind of get used to doing it, and then all of a sudden you don't feel like alienated, or just you feel more, in the group.
Now, these guys that are out doing this for a living, Jimmy, like at the PGA Championship, which started this morning, are they feeling those same nerves?
Absolutely.
Are they feeling those butterflies?
They still do. They still do. I mean, you're still teeing up at a major event. You're playing for a lot of money, but for them, it's more than the money. For some of the club pros like myself that are playing in it, I guarantee you they are feeling it, and it's something you never really get over. I just played the section championship a couple weeks ago, and I can tell you that first tee shot, I was thinking, all right, I know on the practice round, I was thinking, man, this is a tough drive to start off with. So my first thought going on the tee box, I picked that spot 6 inches ahead, and I said, I'm going to hit it as hard as I can in control, make a smooth, slow takeaway, and then rip it. And I did. I ripped it. I had 182 in on a 440-yard hole. That was a good start. But, it's just what I wanted. I didn't want to have a 3-wood or be over there in the hazard or whatever. I just said, hey, you know what? I'm most confident with this driver. Let's go ahead and rip it, and I did. So you never want to go in there with that swing thought of don't screw up, right?
Exactly.
You want to say, let's see how good I can hit this instead of
positive.
And that's what happened to that individual I referred to is you could tell, beautiful golf swing, but you could tell he went back and then all of a sudden there was a decel at the bottom end.
That's too hard. Right.
The don't screw up decel.
Yeah, exactly. He went back into a more of a guidance. I got to guide this thing than he did just swinging in the ball, getting in the way.
Never works.
So hitting instead of swinging. Basically.
Yeah, and it affected him the rest of the day. It started right off bad.
Yeah. It's so amazing how the first hole will kind of set up the mood for the round. As far as the momentum.
Absolutely.
If you get started off with a par, on the first hole,
okay,
we're
fine.
We're ready to roll.
You get a triple or an 8 on the first hole.
Yeah, then it's just like the whole
day. You're oh my God, I've got to make a
and
number.
then you
start thinking of numbers. You press and you're done. So.
Definitely.
So let's say that I'm a viewer and a listener, and I'm getting ready to play in my first club championship at Crow Creek. And I should bank on the fact that every other participant in that field likewise has those same nerves, butterflies, worries that I do.
Yeah.
Some a little more, some a little less.
Right.
Yes, sir.
But everybody's got them.
Oh, yeah.
The stat they show on tour, all the strokes gained driving or strokes gained hitting on approach shot, strokes gained putting, right? Think of it as that tee shot is strokes gained on the field. If you can put that drive in the fairway, some of these other guys aren't going to get it past the ladies' tee box. All right, so say, all right, I can get an advantage on the first hole right now.
Yep.
Let me put it in the fairway, get myself a wedge in my hand.
Which we saw DJ do, in the Open. He just didn't capitalize on it.
Sure.
But that was that length off the tee. That one day I felt help him shoot that low number.
Right. Interestingly, I found out something too back in several years ago when I was back in Atlanta playing the club championships or the MGA events or whatever I was playing in, Golf Channel Tour events, whatever. If I birdied the first hole, I was going to have a horrible day.
It's the kiss of death, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I made bogey or par, I was okay. But
Double
for whatever
triple,
reason, if the good drive came off, if my approach shot just happened to work out the way I wanted it to, and then I sank a 12-foot putt, you go the second tee box going, wow, okay, I'm one up. Hey, this is good stuff. Here, I could shoot 65. And it just always went south from there. What is it about that
I think it's a
is it a curse?
It's a myth. I really do think it's a myth. I remember being a young golfer and always hearing my dad and his buddies say that, and kiss of death, you birdied the first hole, and I actually believed it. And then I remember taking my playing ability test when I first became pro.
PAT.
Yeah, I birdied the first hole, and I kind of laughed. I was like, oh, boy. And even the guys in my group kind of laughed, like, uh-oh, kiss of death. And then I birdied the next two, and I was like, all right, I could care less. I'm 3 under now. Let's just
Is there a 3-birdie kiss of death? I mean,
yeah, I must be really screwed. I don't know.
I'm not going to make it out of the parking lot.
Yeah. But no, it's just a myth. I think you get it out of your head. If you birdied the first hole, everything you've worked for is working. So just keep it rolling, keep it going.
Just like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Does it help let's say that we're playing the club championship at Crow Creek, and would the night before, is it good for you mentally to maybe go in just your private thoughts, just a hole, and okay, I'm going to hit driver here. I'm going to tee off with a hybrid here. I'm going to avoid this bunker here, and should you put yourself through that process, or is that just a waste of time?
Well, I think only if that's your normal process. If you do that for every round, go right ahead.
That's correct.
I don't think you get yourself at like Al said, your procedure, your routine. If that's your routine, then absolutely do it. But I like to stay in the moment, stay in that shot. Because you can say I'm going to hit 3-wood off number one, and then you get to number one and it's blowing 30 in your face. You're not going to hit 3-wood. You're going to hit driver. So I like to stay in the moment, stay in that shot, hit that shot, try to hit the best shot at that time, and don't get ahead of yourself. Because if you're thinking, again, I got to make birdie on this hole, chances are you're not thinking about that swing and coming over the top or coming inside. You need to be concentrating on that shot.
Yeah, I'm so guilty of that one. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're 2 down with 4 to play. Oh, I got a birdie out to have a chance at this guy. That's not a good way to think of it. So,
you bring up a good point. This has always been my approach, and I was taught this by a older PGA professional in Atlanta who's now passed. But he simply told me, George, when you go out and play in these events, which at the time I was a 15 handicapper wanting to go out and play with my fellow friends, in these different Ryder Cup events and things like that. He goes, don't matter what the person you're playing against is playing like.
No, absolutely not.
You got to play the golf course.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
He said, it's just you and the course. If this is a par 4 in front of you, play it as a par 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He says, because, you may designate it in your head as a par 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no doubt.
Just because it's on the card as a 4 doesn't mean that you have to make 4 strokes on that hole.
Yep. Definitely.
He said if it's a harder par 4, you may deem it to be a par 5.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually we call the Big Possum at Possum Trot. It's a very
number 11.
Number 11. It's a par 4, but I play it as a par 5. I get up there every time to myself and I say, hey, if I get out of here with a 5, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some holes that just in your mind, if you go ahead and commit and say, I know this is a tough hole, I'm going to give myself a little bit of room here. That way you're not putting that pressure on yourself, you know what I mean, to perform something that you're going to have a hard time doing anyhow.
Sure.
So just go ahead and accept it.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if you just purely base it off of, okay, this is a 4 on the card, so if I make anything other than 4 higher than 4, then I'm a failure.
Right. Yeah.
Versus saying, hey, look, if I played this hole 10 times and 8 out of 10, I'm going to make 5, then just treat it as a par 5.
As a par 5,
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just don't, again, try to think of what causes you to make those numbers too. I mean, if the hole's too long, then don't try to hit driver 3. If you can't get there 9 times out of 10, why are you trying this one time? Just lay up, get it to a comfortable distance. Maybe you're a good wedge player. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what you practiced. Then trust it. Go for it and play it as a 5. Hey, if you get up and in for 4, great. If you don't, it's a 5. It's just like you said.
You bring up a good point. There was a par 5 at my old course in Atlanta, and it was 630 yard par 5 from the tips.
It's a par 6 for me.
Yeah. It's a big hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I played in the Kirby Invitational, which is one of the older amateur events in the Southeast. And I was playing with Arjun Atwal. And he was in college at the time, and really, really good player, which we've now seen a 20-year plus history on the tours. But Arjun was out, and I watched him hit driver 3-iron to this green. He had a 15-foot putt for eagle.
Wow.
Okay, and I'm sitting here going, well, I'll step on my driver. Well, he's 100 yards in front of me. That's fine. And then I got to get on this 3-wood because he's going to get on the green in 2 with an iron. So I got to do the same thing to show, hey, I can hit it just as good as you can.
I can play too. Sure.
Yeah. And the first thing you do is balloon it right because you're trying to get ahead of it and turn at the same time and dip and raise up and
top it. Yeah.
All this other stuff. And all of a sudden now you're doing everything you can to try to make a 7 and get out of there. And he's going to make a 3.
Sure.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Yep. I never will, even when I first, back when I played in Tennessee and got to play a lot up there, I was playing with my uncles and, some older guys. So when I got down here to the beach, I got playing with some people my own age and some people a little bit older. So say, for instance, when I got down here, I was 20, right in that neck of the woods. Well, by the time I hit 25, I was playing with some strong 30-year-olds, and big old boys. So you would go to play, and, these guys were so far past me. It was ridiculous because they'd have me by, 100 pounds in body weight, let alone, a lot of club head speed.
Right.
So, there was a lot of difference, and I remember the first time I played against a really long hitter, a buddy of mine brought him, in a 4-ball. We got after about 3 holes. I said, don't you ever bring him back with us again.
Right.
I said,
the embarrassment factor.
Yeah, sure.
I said, man, I don't know how I can,
But you know what I've learned out in all these years of playing this game is just as much as you're admiring that long ball that he's hitting, he's probably admiring, too, your laser precision from mid-irons and short irons or putting.
Yep.
There are weaknesses in everybody's game.
That's it. And one of the older fellas that was with me, I never will forget it. The long hitter, he pulled one left in the woods, and he puts his arm around me and he says, "Young man, the woods are full of big hitters."
That's right.
He said,
That's right.
The woods are full of big hitters. I never will forget that.
Absolutely.
I thought that was so cute.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we played with a kid a couple weeks ago that he could hit it 300 yards. It went 200 out and 100 right.
Yeah.
It was 300 solid every time he teed it up.
Yeah.
And he ends up shooting 90.
150. Yeah.
He ends up shooting 90. One thing I wanted to bring up, Pro, and I'd like to hear your comments on this too. We were playing a par 5 with a forced carryover water of about normally where your drives would land at about 230 away. So many people in their head, amateur-wise, oh, yeah, I can hit a 3-wood 230. Okay, first off, you got to consider, do I have to fly at 230? Do I have to fly at 218? Do I need to get it in low because of a little bit of headwind? There's the thought process that you need to take into account. Gentleman asked me, he goes, "George, why aren't you going?" He says, "Can't you hit a 3-wood 230? And I said, "I think so. If I really caught it good, I could." I says, "But why?"
Right.
And he goes, "What do you mean? I'm going for it." And I'm sitting there. First thing popped in my mind, when was the last time that you hit a 3-wood 230 fly?
And got it to land exactly
I hadn't
where you
seen it
wanted
at all day.
Ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It had
exactly.
maybe it had gone 180. So what I did, I ended up going over and I took 230 and I divided it by half. So I played 115 yard shot.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to leave myself 115 for a full pitching wedge
Full
into the
swing.
green.
Yep.
Sure.
Is that a good way to?
That's a very
I
good.
say whatever your number is. Again, if you've got that 80-yard shot, if you got the 90-yard shot, maybe you don't want to hit a full swing. Maybe you want a little 3/4 something. Maybe that's your shot. Hit it to your shot. It's very, very rare that I will hit a 3-wood into a hole to try to get it on the green. If a lot of things have to be right, there has to be almost no trouble and room to miss. Otherwise, I'm not trying to hit 3-wood close to a shot.
And a really good swing.
But finding room to miss.
Yeah, from 230, a really good swing.
And
but
I throw that
if I
number
got bunkers
out
there,
there.
if there's stuff in the way, the thing's got to be you've got to have almost no risk. Then yeah, absolutely. Why not give it a rip? But it's very rarely you get an opportunity to do that.
You brought up a group of words, room to miss.
Yeah.
Is that healthy to think about that?
Well, I mean, it's just smart golf. If you've got room to miss and you can give it a rip, sure. But if you don't, then why even try it? It's a very low percentage shot, and the high percentage shot is hitting to your number that you're comfortable with, and hitting in there close. You're going to make birdie, 50, 60, 70% more with a wedge in your hand than you are with a 3-wood. And you may put yourself in a bad position where now you can't get up and down, where everyone else is birdieing this hole. Now you're making par or worse.
See, this is why we do these programs, folks.
Yep.
This is it.
You want to just stay away from the trouble.
Yeah.
You want to as I set up to a hole. I look at it and I'll say to myself, well, if there's water on the left side or the right side, and then also depending upon how far the water goes out, in each individual area, whether you can carry that water or not. So I'll tend to assess the risk reward factor of that particular.
Al, every once in a while, and I even noticed the shirt sporting the colors today, the Crow Creek colors. But every once in a while, I get invited to play with this guy, and it's so much fun in the fact that because although we don't start right off doing it, we always seem to migrate to it. But we'll stand up on a tee box, and then he'll start just calmly saying, well, you probably want to keep it away from over there, and you see that mound over there, and you probably want to shape it just inside of that. He just naturally does it. And what he's doing, he's being vocal with his thought process. And I'm standing there, I'm trying to take shorthand and make notes. I've got my tape recorder out. I've got my video set up, and then I'm getting out my guidepost and
watching
my swing stick.
Visualization of the shot, I think, is crucial. I think some of the best ball strikers in the world envision the shot in their mind.
Well, we see Jason Day stand behind it, and he does the closed eye bit.
Sure.
He's visioning what he wants
that thing to do, and then that helps them to reaffirm the action of actually doing the procedure of the golf swing.
Absolutely, and sometimes you can see that shot. I know we've all played rounds where we get up to a certain lie and say, all right, this is my number, or the ball's a little above your feet and the pin's back left. It's like, oh man, I get to draw. This is my shot. I can draw it right in there. I already know the shot. And there's some shots where I'm like, wow, I really don't like this angle, or I hate this shot. That's the ones you really need to grind and see the shot, because it doesn't come up to you right away. All right, you've got to hit a cut into that back right pin, or stay away from that pin. There's water behind that green. We got to hit it in the center of the green, but you've got to really see that shot. You can't just go up there and swing away, or guess what? You're in a hazard, or you're in a spot where it's very difficult to get up and down.
The other day I hit a really good drive, and in a center cut the fairway. I just got a lot of bounce out of it, and I'm 2 inches into the rough, but you literally had to stand on top of the ball to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 inches off the fairway. And one of my playing partners said, "Oh, bad break, George." And I'm 30 yards in front of him, so I was kind of proud of that. But I'm sitting here going, but why the hell couldn't it be 2 inches over in the first cut? I had no shot, and I literally had to change my approach to the hole.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I had 190 yards to the green, but I ended up taking a wedge just so I could hack it back out into the short grass.
Yeah. Play the smart play, path of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of trying to rip a 5-iron out of a horrible lie and put yourself in a bunker, or
I would have ended up in water right. It was water short.
Or water short. There you go. Exactly. Why try to push a low percentage shot when you've got the opportunity? You can still make par. I've seen your wedge game. I know you can make par from 140 yards. The pitching wedge.
That's it. Like I say, sometimes you're better off just to go ahead and take your medicine.
Yeah.
On the whole.
Hey.
Take the one stroke.
It was a bad break.
Brush
it
off
was
the
a bad break.
It
was. I hit a great drive for me, a good drive. 218 right down the middle. It hit the fairway,
that is
but
a good drive.
But it goes. And it's literally, folks. It's that far off the first cut. And literally, my playing partner and I, who I was in the cart with, we had to walk around to find it. Yep. We saw it hit the fairway. We saw it roll on the fairway, and then we had to walk over and spend a good minute to find it. And it just changed my whole thing about that hole. Is I hit a good drive. I knew I was like long iron away, maybe a hybrid, tough par 4. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I got to try to make 4 here.
Mm-hmm. Or just accept, hey, 5 is probably going to happen. Maybe I can get up and down for 4. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. You hit yourself,
and that's what happened.
You hit yourself into trouble. Okay, accept that 5's going to happen. Maybe you can get this up and in for 4. Make a good.
But stay in the hole.
Sometimes those par saves are better than birdies.
Right.
They keep the momentum going.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
You know me. If I get on a par roll, look out.
Hey,
18 handicap trending.
Speaking of bouncing drives, did you get his re-entry path in a little steeper? Because he used to come in pretty vertical.
There you go.
So you must have got him some roll.
There you go. It
was a rock. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, it was probably that 150 plate right in the middle of the fairway.
It was the 200 plate.
Oh.
They put him at 175, don't they?
218, man.
This isn't a Cialis commercial, is it? We don't want to talk about length or whatever.
But, the thing, this conversation started off with nerves, and it's always interesting to watch the pros. They go through, and you bring up a great point, Al, with the routines. Mm-hmm. I watched Tiger this morning at Whistling Straits. He literally spent 20 minutes on the putting green at 5 feet. He stood there for a good 8 minutes or so from 5 feet. He probably hit 50 putts from 5 feet. He didn't miss a one. They had a live camera posted right above him for the entire time. When he walked up, Jimmy, he took I've seen you teach this. He takes the 2 tees and puts them the exact width of the putter blade. Mm-hmm. And then he just keeps rolling in a ball. He sets the putter blade in, and then he would hit there would be like 6 balls. He would do 4 of them one-handed from 5 feet. And then for the last 2 in that group of 6, he would bring in the other hand and then finish those 2. And then Joey would reach into the hole, grab the balls, throw them back to him, and then he would go through that routine all over again.
Definitely.
Then he went over to the driving range. He went through his bag, like you said, wedges, short irons, mid irons, long irons. He went through the driver. And then I noticed most of them at every tournament, every week, when they get through on the range, then they go back over to the putting green just to kind of calm everything down, tone everything down, and get the stroke back in their mind.
Get that feel.
Definitely.
One last time. Yep.
And then one thing, too, is pre-shot routine. Is another thing that helps you stay relaxed, because it's another thing, that you're used to doing. Mm-hmm. It gets you, the twirl of the club, mm-hmm. Just little itty bitty things, that is what they, will help them relax.
Right.
With the setup.
Or like myself and some others on the tour, better living through chemistry. So
that's it.
That's the relaxation.
That's it.
How about that?
Whatever works.
We're off the cart path again.
See John Daly.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about chemistry, not grain alcohol.
I was talking about Diet Coke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. They make that stuff in diet now?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Now we're off the cart.
Yeah, now we got off of it. All right, guys, a lot of fun. We're going to have to run here. We got coverage of the majors coming up right after, of course, the roundtable here. And so be sure to stay with us after we take this quick break. TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages, where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much, much more. Need help with your next golf vacation? You can just call Dave. Give us a call at 844-GO-GOLF-1, 844-464-6531. I guess they can call somebody else, too. Starting up soon, huh? Is that right?
Someday soon, hopefully they can just call Aaron.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. We need to change this.
Yeah.
We need to change this. All of our TGD programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. Catch up on any show you may have missed. You can click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We are now available on over 1 billion devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. We want to thank Jimmy Biggs so much for joining us here today on the Roundtable. Of course, Brother Al is back in black.
Wow.
Back in black. We got to get that song on as our lead-in. And I'm George Honeycutt. We want to thank all of you for tuning in. We thank Jeff behind the glass. There's so much more golf news and information coming up next.